Alright, so I'm doing a challenge trying to platinum every single game inside of the Ubisoft Plus game catalog on PlayStation. And if I can't do it before we hit 690,000 subscribers on YouTube, then I have to tattoo the platinum logo somewhere on my body. So make sure to drop a like and subscribe. Ladies and gentlemen, we are officially less than 100,000 subscribers away from the goal and me getting a fat tattoo permanently on my body. So yeah, thank you all so much for almost getting the channel to 600k. That is absolutely nuts. But anyways, today I platinumed Assassin's Creed 2, which is part 1 of 3 for the Eizo Collection inside of the Ubisoft Plus collection. The entire Eizo Collection, by the way, is estimated at a time of around 100 hours for 3 of these games, which is just great for my poor baby skin that is going to get burned by the ink of failure. Also, I know I'm probably saying the name Eizo wrong, but it's okay. Don't worry about it. Assassin's Creed 2 is the first game here and has 51 total trophies inside for the platinum. First stage is to beat the story, and it is the longest one. However, stage 2 is much more annoying and takes forever also. I first began with 1 trophy, by the way, since I played the intro a while ago, and then stopped abruptly because your mom came over. But the intro to the game opens up with us playing as this guy right here. Honestly, his name is not coming to my mind right now, but we chat around with this baddie who had an oopsies in the bathroom earlier. As you can see, it must be that time of the month again. But then we got thrown right on into the Animus, and it opens up with us being born again. I can't even imagine what the hell that must have been like, seeing it as a grown adult in the first person. Also, this is where that trophy I got earlier would have popped. We then got sent back to reality and stealthed around Abstergo facilities, trying to get out because they are after us for violating the baby rule for the Animus. I got to punch a few guards in the parking garage, however, and we would then end up getting shoved into a trunk, and then the first trophy of the game popped. The lady then drove us to a safe warehouse, as you could probably guess what happened. I also had to converse with these weird side characters while here. In fact, one of them was British. So sorry to 12.4% of my audience, I love you. And after I jumped back into the Animus chair and was sent again into my dreams, I received another trophy. As you could guess, this second send-off into the Animus did let us play as Eizo, but if I'm being honest, aside from this intro main mission where we punched a bunch of peasants with our royal hands, and when we banged this girl and got caught by her father, the first hour or 2 of this game has some of the most boring and dragged out plot setting I've ever seen. We literally just ran around doing chores for people and occasionally getting trophies as well. But it finally kicked up when our father got captured by the Templars and was put in a tower. In fact, this might be the same tower that Rapunzel got knocked up in. Anyways, he told us that everything is going to be fine and that we have to make sure this certain box of items he has is safe, and to deliver evidence that he is innocent to some dude. So we found the box, and inside was assassin gear. Oh my god, father, I thought your secrets were much more unexciting, like cocaine or something. And yeah, we threw it on because why not? Let's try and look as out of place as possible. We also brought the evidence for our father's release to this guy right here named Evil Man Number 1 because he sold out our entire family and they hung to death right in front of my eyes. I then had to embarrassingly run away with my tail between my legs, and actually, that was an enemy's sword. I almost died. But don't worry, because now I am on a vengeance trip that will last like 12 years long. I'm not even kidding. This game takes course over that many years. Also, I got a trophy after all that ordeal. And the next part of this game then had us do assassin training, pretty much. Overall, very dumb. Just let me stab someone. That's what I'm saying. I did get my first target, however, and his name was Uberto, the fat artist. I kind of feel bad. He didn't put up any bit of a fight, but that also means I'm just a stealth god, and I got a trophy. I then got placed down inside the mountains fighting for my life and the lives of my mother and sister, since we are all that's left alive after the tragic villain origin story occurrence. But we got saved by our uncle named Mario. Yes, the same one from the Nintendo games. And he actually owns an entire village right nearby, which is just insanely convenient. And this is also sort of the home base for us the entire game, where quite a few trophies do occur, by the way. My next trophy gotten, however, was after finishing this sequence where we went after this guy we beat up in the intro of Eizo's story. Low-key, he's kind of built like XQC, and the fight wasn't hard at all. It was actually so simple that we didn't have to assassinate him. We legit just touched tips. I then returned back to home base and had to find a few codex pages to begin dwindling down the mystery we are chasing after with the Templars and other lore things. Once getting those though, the sequence ended and there's the trophy. I also got introduced into base building within this game, which is a feature that most Assassin's Creed games actually do have. Pretty much it's just where you can upgrade things and then receive more money per hour or something like that. And after I made a few upgrades initially, I got a trophy for doing that. We then got a little section where we basically got mentored by a different master assassin because we kind of have no clue what to do. Just kind of. I mean, we just started, for God's sake. But he pointed us in the right direction, and we got to begin our first tomb of the game. There was multiple of these, and they all contain important relics, obviously, but even more important, they contain numerous trophies for each tomb. This first tomb, by the way, had very small amounts of combat until we chased this scared little boy down the halls of the tomb, and right into his entire team of other enemies. There was then a cute little brawl, I won't lie, but once I prevailed on top with my main character plot armor shining in the winds, I found the first coffin full of goodies, which is also the end of the tombs and a trophy pop. I then had another assassination target up and cornered this guy on top of his castle.
Man, shut your bitch.
Only for him to just jump down and then lead us on an insane chase around the city, which lasted around 6 minutes. Mostly because the parkour in this game is unbelievably annoying. I swear, half the time my character would just jump on a wall and then jump directly backwards. It drove me insane. And something tragic happened later. If you follow me on Instagram, you would know, so you should probably go follow me on Instagram. Eventually, though, I did capture the guy and then we killed him, of course. The citizens also cheered in the streets, and this must have been what winning the Super Bowl felt like in the 1400s because I was astounded. Oh yeah, and I got a trophy for finishing another sequence. I then went around and assassinated a fat man in a fluffy pink outfit. A man with a horrible hairline. I'm not sure how you obtained this build, but it's one of my worst fears. And also a peasant, I think. This feels wrong. But all of these assassinations are a part of my quest for world domination, or rather to just draw out and get more info on this guy right here, who is the man behind our father's death and everything else, basically. On this mission right here, though, we got a chance to sneak up and see what was going on since the evil people are having a meeting in an oddly open area. I guess the JFK event hadn't occurred yet in this timeline, so they could still do this. But basically, they teamed up on the oldest dude here and just killed him. That's low-key kind of evil, though, and they also spotted me and knew I was here the whole time, so it was indeed a setup. I of course broke out of captivity though because plot armor, and my objective was not to run away. Oh no, it was to put the old guy out of his misery. I thought we were assassins, not Peace Corps members, for God's sake. I did get a trophy though, so I let it slide. Next major story point had us stumble across one of our friends who was named Leonardo. He is super smart and has this carriage full of valuable inventions inside of it. So we had to help escort him, and I hate to say it, but poor Leonardo's belongings are definitely destroyed. Like they have just been getting rocked this entire time. After that section though, I also got gangbanged by a bunch of men, and for some reason I don't think any of them were over the age of 25. But no trophies were awarded, and I think I'm gonna cry. But I did get one while in this new city for assassinating a mailman. Even the FedEx workers of the ancient times were hated by all. I then just got this simple ass mission where I drove a boat up to a lady who I can't tell if it's pretty or not. Got a weird nose thing going on, not gonna lie. But after we saved her, I got another trophy since she was like the ruler of the land or something important. The real main character guy back in reality then went into this dream state when he was out of the Animus, and we had to climb this tower inside of this dream mission. Now, if you've played Assassin's Creed 2, then you probably remember this tower, because if you aren't aware of absolutely every movement mechanic in the game, then it probably had you stuck like me. I spent 15 minutes trying to climb this tower, and a YouTube video from 14 years ago is all it took for me to learn that you can actually just jump up in the game. I don't want to play anymore. I then ran into this girl named Rosa who got caught trying to break into some palace. Rosa, by the way, would lead us into her crime-fighting organization, pretty much, where a bunch of people work together to fight back against the current rulers of the city. And for the next hour, we spent our time basically just freeing her and captured people and assisting the cause, until we were finally ready to take on this palace. And I even stealthily assassinated the main guy right inside of his place. This, of course, is a feat so impressive that they just gave us the palace and another trophy. Now, if you remember that machine inside of Leonardo's carriage from earlier, it was actually a flying suit that we got to take on a test run within this next mission right here. And also the place where you get the one singular missable trophy in the entire game, which is gotten from just kicking a dude in the face while flying. Honestly, very easy to do. I then got to assassinate some other guy here, and as he died, I received another story trophy. There was then this kind of hard and annoying section where I had to stay completely hidden for a minute straight within this party, and it makes me wonder why assassins don't ever take a more modern approach and just wear normal clothes. Like, bro, you couldn't be any more obvious in literally any situation ever. But I did manage to hide for a minute after the NPCs for some reason gave up looking in this very obvious hay bale. I also got to assassinate this guy here with a gun, and we are now moving more progressive. I love it. This gave a story trophy, by the way, after I got serenaded by interesting amounts of females back at the crib. Right after I had to chase down and assassinate another important man, but this time it had a bit more combat within. However, all things come to an end in the same way, and I both killed him and got a trophy. I was then officially inducted into the Assassin's Hall of Fame, and even got to do their custom-made leap of Faith, which popped me a trophy in addition to endless glory in the Brotherhood. We are now in the last stretch for the final story trophy, which is gotten from completing sequence 14. For some odd reason, the developers didn't give sequences 12 or 13 a trophy, and it's kind of sad. Although it's also probably because they don't have much story to them and go by very quick. Yeah, that's the reason now that I think about it. Also, on this one mission, I just could not stealth it to save my life, and the parkour was driving me insane with how annoying it is in the game. So I kind of lost my mind a little bit and completely smashed my good controller to pieces. Hell, even the in-game audio got muted. I then had to resort to using my other controller with massive stick drift on it, and that made this game so much more fun. The next trophy I got, however, was just from buying all the swords and upgrades for combat or something. I don't really know what this is for, but I did get a trophy. Anyways, then the game ends with us, of course, getting to fight the big bad man who killed our family and sent us down this assassin rabbit hole years upon years ago. There was 2 stages to this fight, by the way. First had us tussle a bit in the church, and then he stabbed us, and we just got up because that dog don't quit. So then we had another fight inside of the tomb, and I think the big guy's cardio got to him because he just sort of couldn't take it anymore. Hell, we didn't even kill him. We just let him realize how out of shape he is. We then got sent back to reality because inside the tomb had what we were after. And also the bad guys IRL showed up and we had to battle them a lot while credits rolled down my screen. Man, were they inventive with showing off people's names that I won't ever remember back then. Gotta love it. Also, after all of the credits and our escape, the final story trophy did pop. So now it's time for the next stage in the Platinum Trophy, which primarily consists of grabbing all 100 feathers in the game. These are the only real hard collectible in Assassin's Creed 2, and they also don't show up on the in-game map at all. So you have to either run around for hours finding them, or just Google it like I did. I got numerous trophies on the way there, however, first being from syncing with 10 viewpoints in the game because you gotta be able to see the map to find the feathers, of course. I also performed the Leap of Faith move right here on a specific viewpoint because the game said so, and I got a trophy. I also scanned my first glyph right here, which are like a side collectible where you also do have to do some puzzles inside of them to unlock the mystery, as they call it. However, just scanning one is a trophy to start with. But actually, solving the puzzle is another one, so that's even more neat. Quite a few hours later, I was then back at the villa where we have our major home base set up, and I found all of these myth statues right here. There's only 8 of these, so it's not hard to get them whatsoever, and there's the trophy from it. Another 2 hours after, I was nearing the end of the feather grind, and also the glyph grind, because I have been doing these along with the feathers since they are usually nearby each other. And after I solved this last puzzle, I received the trophy from solving all of the glyphs in the game. And then I finally collected every single feather. God, that was actually satisfying when hearing the trophy pop for that one. Stages 3 and 4 are both essentially miscellaneous things to do, so that's what I went and did right after. Starting first by reaching 80% completion in the game, or as they call it, restoring the villa to 80%. I then bought these 2 different colored wardrobes in the tailor shop, which are both ugly and you won't see me rocking it anytime soon. I also had to wear this black cape around in every city, which makes you the most wanted man alive, but you also had to go all the way into the mountains because apparently that location counts for the trophy. Kinda weird, but okay, I did it. I then bought art in 2 separate specific cities and dumped 5 different men into hay bales for a trophy. I then landed on a bunch of combat specific trophies next, which some were a tad bit hard, starting off first with one from just throwing sand into 4 guards' faces at once. Thankfully, the spread is quite large for this, so it wasn't actually too bad. And the following trophy was just from air assassinating a poisoned enemy. Poisoning enemies is done by just tickling them with a poison dagger. So you just do that and then suplex them from the sky. Easy peasy if I do say so. I also finally spent 5,000 florins on escorts in the game. Shout out to the red light district. I then landed on a quite annoying combat trophy requiring you to kill 10 enemies in combat without being hit. The main method is to use smoke grenades and then obviously assassinate them all. However, after the second smoke grenade and usually having 8 or so enemies down, they start to freak out and run away, which in turn takes you out of combat and voids the trophy. So my advice if you do this is to find way more than 10 enemies and then just go ham as fast as you can to try and keep them all in combat. But it is kind of a luck thing. I then just ran around pickpocketing people, getting 1,000 florins stolen and the trophy for that. My next combat trophy then required me to sweep 5 enemies at one time with a long weapon. And oh my god, this is actually insanely difficult, and I'm pretty positive I got lucky because the weapon barely tapped half of these people. I did knock over 5 though, and there's the trophy. I then did my first Assassins for Hire quest, and it brought me all the way out into the sea to do so. Bow executions, by the way, are kind of sick because you can just hold onto the edge and basically assassinate everyone. It's a fun time. I then got to beat up a cheating husband. Let's just forget that I accidentally killed him. He's fine. fine. And I also threw down a ton of money on the floor so some peasant will find it in the future and probably have an orgasm. I then had to do a thieves race within the game, and I did do it first try. We won't talk about how close it was. It's not an important factor. The trophy pops no matter what your performance is. And with that complete, we have now finished every single trophy aside from the remaining tombs. Tombs in this game are like that one mission we did in the story. Most just contain a lot of parkour and some puzzles, but it's usually just a lot of parkour. They are, by the way, kind of boring. I didn't really enjoy them if I'm being honest. Also, the fact that this was at the end of a 5-hour straight gaming session might have had some influence on my hatred for them. But hey, I did them all, and then the Platinum Trophy popped right here. So that was the Assassin's Creed 2 Platinum Trophy experience. Overall, the game is good. I mean, the story is actually very well done, and it's not surprising the game is a classic in the series. Although I do think that the parkour might be one of the most annoying I've ever played in the franchise. But if I complain too much about that, I know everyone's just gonna say skill issue anyway. So putting it in out of 10, I'm gonna give Assassin's Creed 2 a solid 7 out of 10. Game was relatively fun, not very broken, and the platinum was moderately difficult. So yeah, that's all. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.